What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League deadline stream. This time we will be talking, obviously, about Game Week 23. I've already made one transfer. I'm not going to make another. Me personally, with regards to my team, I have to decide captaincy, and I also have to decide benching. I'm not sure if I'll change it. Let me actually refresh that page, because right now you see the captain as Antonio. But if I refresh, just to do a magic trick, you can see Bamford is captain. And the reason Antonio and Bamford, I don't necessarily know who to choose. I don't think there's something that necessarily separates them. But I feel like I'm going back to my old ways here, like I did, I don't know, 2 years ago, and this is just a gut pick. So yeah, when I came into this week initially, I'm like, okay, I'm captaining Bamford for sure. So I stuck it back on Bamford. But obviously Antonio is a great option. Let me pull up chat. How's it going, guys? Good to be back. My alarm didn't go off, so a little late. It's pretty early here. Hey guys, hey Mason, didn't you feel wasting? So should you start Wan-Bissaka instead of Salah? I'm actually gonna say, okay, we should probably discuss benching Salah because it's reasonable enough. I don't think benching Salah is a crazy idea. I think one of his main threats this week is penalties. Man City have just been so good defensively. There's really no way around that. Who'd Man City play last game? Obviously, Man City have kept many clean sheets in a row. But let's look at who they did it against, right? Is it amazing fixtures? So how long has this been going? I mean, okay, Chelsea scored once. Since then, I must say, they have had really good fixtures. Regardless, it's so many in a row that it's impressive. That consistency, obviously. But we're talking about Brighton, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, West Brom, Sheffield United, and Burnley that they've played. So some of their defensive amazingness is potentially because of the fixtures. If you throw another big team in there like a Tottenham or Liverpool, which isn't in the last five, nobody really close. Aston Villa is probably the closest thing, and that was 2-0. And I can't remember, that was so long ago, if Aston Villa really created any big chances or not. But there's no Leicesters in there, it's not quite the big team. So if you're gonna play Salah, that would be the way to frame it, where you could say, okay, they've simply had good fixtures. This is a tough one. I think that's enough to make me play Salah, to be honest. And the fact that he at least, we've been watching Salah for how long now? He at least gets one big chance every game. I would say that's pretty accurate. But I don't expect anything from Salah. He's not captain or vice captain material for me. His numbers just haven't been that good. And Liverpool don't look creative enough, and that's just been the case for a while now. I don't think that okay. I think United have a good chance of keeping a clean sheet. I think that one's a toss-up. I can't say for sure. But Everton have lacked a lot of creativity recently, and the only time they've really looked threatening was against Leeds last game, and Leeds is just a much different matchup than most teams. I'm hesitant to play Calvert-Lewin, but I feel like if Everton do well, Calvert-Lewin will likely be involved. So that's why he's first sub, but not starting at the moment. I don't really like the United matchup. So I think because I'm benching Calvert-Lewin and playing Salah, I'm sort of with you on both accounts, besides the fact that I'm playing Salah. But I am benching Calvert-Lewin out of the fact that I think United will keep a clean sheet. So I don't know. I can never straight up advise and say bench Salah. I don't think I could ever. I could if it was bad enough. I don't know. I just don't think it's quite reached that point. He did just score 2 goals 2 weeks back against a pretty decent team. I don't know what I would do. So how is it going? So we got play Diaz, Gundogan, or Calvert-Lewin. I think Diaz, Gundogan, or Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin and Gundogan in general is somebody that I would probably look to bench. I think I would play Diaz over him. I've got both my Liverpool defenders in over him, and it's not that all these players are fine. They could all get points. That's the thing about having our money so spread out. But I think the clean sheet is very likely. I think this game is likely to be pretty cagey. The Liverpool-Man City game. And the reason for this is I don't think Man City necessarily have to push to win it. I think they're okay with the draw. And we've seen these games in the past be pretty cagey. A lot of the big games this season in general, actually. Gundogan, Man City will still probably have decent possession. Gundogan will, I could see him easily having a chance. It only takes one penalty for him. I don't know. I think I'm still going to go Stones over him, though. Simply because the defense has been too good. And it's sort of like insurance to me, to be honest. I'm happy if I just get one return. Like, okay, the way I'm playing it is either Salah scores or I get a Man City clean sheet. I'm really hoping one of the two happens, but I'm not expecting both. Obviously, that's impossible. How's it going, Kobe? Ignis, no Son, no fear. Oh no, I'm not scared. If he does well, he does well. But I'm not going out of my way to get him in. I don't think there's necessarily great reason to, given the midfielders that I have. I feel like all my midfielders have decent enough matchups besides Salah. And I'm happy having Salah for now. But Son's kind of worth fearing because of his ownership once the game week starts. But that's never going to be a real reason I bring somebody in. I would understand if somebody said Salah out this week. Obviously not for me. I'm not interested in doing it for a hit. But considering the fact that there's no real amazing options and Son is in that category of not trustworthy at the moment because of the situation at Tottenham, that I'm not too worried about him. So Antonio and Bamford over Bruno. Right now I've got my captaincy on Bamford. We do need to talk about captaincy. I'll discuss some captaincy. Jesus or Gundogan. Ooh, I think I would have to go Jesus there. I don't trust either one. I really don't trust Jesus. I think if you have him, you probably play him. He's a little bit higher upside than Gundogan, but that's a tough one. I don't think I'll get an Everton defender for the double game week. It's very possible though. I'm interested in getting rid of Target at some point. I know he's got a double game week coming up at some point. He's got 2 games in hand, but I think I may just go ahead and sell him. His fixtures aren't amazing. I did just bring him in recently, but for the double, I could do Target to Digne pretty easily. So I brought in Lowton. Who do Everton play? Obviously they play Man City. That's not amazing, but Fulham's good. Maybe Digne in. Maybe Dallas in at some point for their double as well. Yeah, getting rid of Target makes sense for me to get some more doubles, right? I already have 3 Man City and 1 Everton, so I'm looking decent for the double. Okay, so if you have all 4 chips, hey Sultan, if you have all 4 chips before the big double, I'm not sure there's a set time to wild card. At this point in the season, hopefully you'll feel confident in your ability to wild card, and then you'll be like, okay, I can effectively plan for the rest of the season with this wild card. If your team's good, wait till you feel like that to wild card. Once you realize, or once you think, okay, I can plan for the rest of my season my wild card effectively and have a good team for the rest of the season, like once I use this wild card, there's no reason to wait any further, in my opinion. Like it does depend on double game weeks and stuff that makes it tough, and I typically do like wild carding to set up the bench boost. I think it makes it a little easier. But if the bench boost really ruins your team and you already can set it up decently, then I would take advantage of that and bench boost before the wild card. That way you could sort of ruin your team and then fix it. But yeah, in general, I would try to wild card not as early as possible. I'm not saying rush it, but I prefer to use it with some decent weeks left. That way you get some gains out of it. If you don't, if your team's fine, your team's fine. You don't really have to make any changes. But using a wild card in Gameweek 37 is only having an impact your team for 1 week, or 2. Good morning, Adam. Yes, the train is going. I guess that's a Lowton train. I mean, do we have trains for 4.4 people? Is it a movement? I don't know. So, Rashford, I'm going to hold him until the fixtures swing at this point, most likely. So that's 23, 24, 25, and then sell probably. I could sell before the double game week too. That makes it a little bit different, but they play West Brom, and that's the easiest matchup in the league right now. So I can't quite sell there. Maybe game week 25, I could bring in a Leeds guy. There's just not many amazing alternatives. I think I'll sell, I would always sell someone around him before that, I would say. One thing I could do is sell Johnston soon, just to get in a double game week keeper. I think that's probably a good idea. Get him Pope, maybe. I mean, I got the money to spend. Doesn't really matter at this point, I suppose. But Areola has the double game week 24, so I would probably, if I did make a game week 25 double game week, I would probably bring in Meslier. I mean, I could get in McCarthy as well. The reason I wouldn't want to get Meslier is because I would want, maybe a Leeds triple up at some point. I doubt it. I mean, well, it would be like Dallas, Ayling, and Bamford. I guess the only two I want is Dallas and Bamford. So I think I could get Meslier, and then maybe Dallas too, maybe both. How decent are their fixtures? But yeah, let's discuss some captaincy. Harvey, and I love Shaw, and selling Justin would be tough. He's been so good. He's just been so good. I would probably try to sell somebody else, but maybe you don't have anybody. I think next week I would. I don't know. Maybe I would wait a week though, with regards to that. So pick Chilwell replacements. I'm gonna say Alonso's the risky one. Other than that, you want to go Burnley defense probably because of the fixtures. Pick 3 from Diaz, Cancelo, Dallas, Sufal, and Wan-Bissaka. I'm gonna say Cancelo for sure. I think you just play him every week. Cancelo, Dallas, and Cancelo, Dallas. Ooh, the third one is the toss-up. Probably Wan-Bissaka. Probably. But Diaz is also... I feel like they'd all be fine. I can't... maybe I'd go Sufal. But those are all good. So, as with regards to captaincy... the 3 captaincy options with regards to my team, and I also feel like in general besides Son, but that's just a fixture play that's pretty risky. Looking at Fernandez, Antonio, and Bamford for captaincy. The one reason I'm not going Bruno, I don't mind him. If I had to captain him, I would captain him, and I would be whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, I've been getting captaincy wrong recently anyway, so if somebody put a gun to my head and say Captain Bruno, I'd be like, all right, wouldn't even be worried. If somebody said Captain Rashford, I'd be like, can I put it on somebody else? And then they'd shoot me. So with Bruno, Pogba's probably going to play this week because he was rested. I think that's the case, right? That's what I initially thought. And yeah, I don't see any sign of Pogba last game. So I'm right. And it could just be due to chance that recently Bruno hasn't been doing as well with Pogba. But we have seen, post-restart, Bruno did perfectly fine with Pogba, and he was amazing, actually. I do think they're playing a little bit differently this year. They have Cavani in the team, which makes things different. Martial is not quite the same. He's just not quite as good. And Luke Shaw playing well makes things a little bit different. So the style of the team it's the same, but the way they're playing is also different in ways because they have a good left back at the moment, even though it's the same left back, and they don't have the best striker in the world. Bruno still doesn't get the most chances. His numbers in general have simply died down. Let's go to expected goals and everything. And let's go over the past month as usual. And let's sort like that. So expected goals per 90 minutes. Well, Bruno, it's still not bad for Bruno, and it never is. But he's below Salah for expected goals per 90 minutes over the past, 3 or 4 games here. This is the past month. So yeah, for Liverpool it's 5 games. For Bruno it's 6. And Salah is better. Obviously, he's got a tougher matchup this week. But in terms of expected goals, we need to put Bamford in here. Is Bamford in here? There he is. So Bamford's all the way down here. Bamford has not been great. His expected goals, expected assists anyway, is better than everybody else, barely. His expected goal involvement isn't great. But first of all, Bamford, I feel like Bamford's been unlucky to not get the ball as much as he has. I feel like Crystal Palace is a good matchup. The one reason I've went Bamford at the moment is simply because Crystal Palace have been giving up. They have games pretty frequently where they concede a lot of goals. So conceding 1 to Newcastle is pretty standard, I would say. Like, that's not great, but it's not terrible. I feel like Newcastle could have scored more in that game. I feel like they were the better team for large parts of that game. Also, Crystal Palace have no Zaha this week, most likely, so that just hurts the overall quality of the team. Crystal Palace, in the game before that, did keep a clean sheet to Wolves. But Wolves are Wolves. Before that, Crystal Palace gave up 3 to West Ham. I would say Leeds and West Ham have pretty similar overall quality of attacks. A little bit different style, maybe, but in general, overall quality is probably the same. Before that, Crystal Palace gave up 4 goals to City. I can't look into that too much. They did draw 0-0 with Arsenal, and they have kept some clean sheets over. Let's just go to their fixtures in general. I was looking at this the other day. So I'm looking at the games, like, obviously Liverpool killed them 7-0. Liverpool just scored everything. West Ham, I'm looking at Villa scoring 3 on them and West Ham scoring 3 on them. And I for some reason, I feel like Leeds are the same sort of team where they'll score a lot. That's the whole thing. that's really all it is. And watching Crystal Palace last week and watching Bamford, I just got the feeling that Bamford's going to do well. And that's really the only reason I captain him. I see some games where they've shown they can concede a lot of goals at once, and it is what it is. Now, obviously, I love Antonio this week too. Antonio's great. Fulham, Jesus Christ. So Leicester scored 2 on them. You can't blame them for that too much. Leicester are a very high-quality team. But West Brom scoring 2 on them is a major issue. Like, that shouldn't happen. I actually want to see exactly what happened in that game because I didn't watch that. But the game before that, or maybe it was 2 weeks before, they played Brighton. And Brighton pressed them, and they looked terrible. They could not handle the press. Fulham just were bad. With that said, I think Antonio is better than Bruno because of the matchup. Everton can cause problems a lot of time when they just sit back and defend. Expected goals against over the past month, we see Fulham are second worst. Crystal Palace are pretty decent, actually. So this reads good for Antonio. But Fulham have conceded. This is kind of, if we go through the course of the season, I think we'll see the same thing where Fulham have only conceded 6 goals, even though they've given up a lot of expected goals. Whereas Crystal Palace have conceded 7 with less expected goals against. And if we go to the whole season, this is still a trend. If we go to goals against, we'll see that Crystal Palace have given up more goals than Fulham, even though the expected goals is the other way around, barely. So what does that mean? Does that mean the goalkeeper is worse? Maybe. That's a likely outcome that a lot of people conclude whenever there's like this variation in expected goals converted. And I think that makes enough sense. But for some reason, Fulham are pretty good at not conceding goals a lot of times. I think it's a toss-up for me between Bamford and Antonio. They're both likely on penalties. They're both central in a way where they don't drift wide a lot of times. They're always going to be the person that's on the end of the final ball or the through ball on the counterattack. But they also have a high created chances number. They really do. And it's pretty impressive. We only got 15 minutes left to go. I really love Bamford and Antonio this week. I really do. Like they're just so locked into my captaincy. It's not even close. Dallas over Sioux Fall because more attacking threat. Dallas lines up at center mid a lot of times, and he basically is a center attacking mid. And Crystal Palace are without Zaha. Am I right about that? Am I right that they're without Zaha, or do I just keep saying that? Let's find out. So yeah, we got 14 minutes left. Yeah, I'll probably just stream until the lineups come out. Pick your bench. Okay, Johnson, Sioux Fall, Cancelo, me, Justin, Stones, Bruno, Salah Realism. That might be a typo. Oh, great. Okay, Souček, Son, Bamford, Antonio, Adams, Areola. Let's actually say you bench. Okay. I'm going to say Adams, Johnston, probably Justin. And then one more is the tough one. Maybe Souček at that point. It sort of sucks to bench Souček, but I think that's my initial thought with that team. So you have to bench 3 of these guys. I would probably bench Mr. Off Spinners in a hurry. I think you bench Gundogan, Calvert-Lewin probably. Okay, wait, no, I take I still think you bench Gundogan and possibly Calvert-Lewin. You may end up playing a lot of defenders here, which feels weird, but I feel like they all have great matchups. Maybe Gundogan, Calvert-Lewin, and you got to decide between Souček and Dallas, I feel like. Maybe Diaz. I'd play Pope too. Well, Stones or DCL first bench. I'm going. I'm playing Stones at the moment. Sioux Fall or Diaz. I think I would lean towards Sioux Fall. I like the Fulham matchup. But Stones over Gundogan simply because, as I said earlier, I'm not convinced that Man City score a lot here. This could be where they only score 1 or 2. I don't think the likelihood of Gundogan being in there is necessarily high unless he gets a penalty. But, of course, I'm expecting bench points here. Like, every week, I feel like we should all, with all these teams that we have, just expect bench points, and you just can't get upset about it. Like, it's going to happen. So you just try your best to pick the best lineup, and after that, it is what it is. But I quite like going for the double Man City defense. I think it makes sense. And I think the players I have on the bench, it's just not great matchups for any of them. Liverpool have still been okay recently. It's not the worst matchup ever though. But I'm not always the biggest fan of Pep's tactics in big games. I feel like he does some weird things a lot of times, so I'll just leave Gundogan on the bench, see what happens. And Calvert-Lewin is a great option. I mean, he's not a great option, but if you have to play him, it's fine too. I really don't feel like I'll make a last-second switch this time. I'm feeling okay about it. The only thing I would switch is captaincy. Bamford and Antonio. But I like both of them so much, I don't know how I decide between them. I'm telling you, man, it's all about Antonio and Bamford this week. Those are the captaincy options. You want to start Justin or Adams over Salah. So let's look at who do Southampton play. Okay, Newcastle. Newcastle, hard to predict. Justin over Salah. I mean, Justin, I love him. I think he's a great player. But fantasy option wise. I wouldn't blame you, but I think I still would barely play Salah over Justin. I think it's close. Interesting decision would be like a little bit better matchup. Like if I had Dallas, would I play Dallas over Salah? I think I might actually. Oh yeah, I was gonna check out if Zaha was hurt, and I completely forgot about it. I think I clicked, and my computer just didn't load it. Yeah, so Zaha's out. I think I would definitely play Dallas if I had him. He's just too good option. I think he's a definite start. Bench Gundogan or Watkins? I'd bench Gundogan. I think Arsenal's not a terrible matchup for them. It's not amazing. They did well the first time, but it's decent enough where I think you play most. Like Grealish and Watkins, I think I would at least play one if I had them. Probably two, depending on. Oh yeah, so with regards to how good United are defending, so I really looked at last game and or the last couple of games. Wait, am I at the right place here? Okay, yeah. So it's sort of hard to judge Manchester United defensively. I think they've been good. Only 0.75 against Arsenal. Arsenal, I say they're hard to judge because were Arsenal just poor that game? What kind of Arsenal was that? We're not really sure. I think that's another case of big game caginess potentially with Manchester United, which Everton could give off the same feel, I suppose. We saw, two pretty big teams about the same quality. We saw a pretty tight affair here with Everton-Leicester. That makes me think, this Man United game could go the same way where it's going to be pretty cagey. And before that Manchester United, obviously the Sheffield United game, they didn't give up many chances. They did score two. The thing that I like if I had to play Calvert-Lewin is potential goalkeeper mistakes. I don't trust De Gea that much. I think that would be the one reason I would start him. They have conceded one against Fulham and Sheffield United, but then they kept a clean sheet against Arsenal. But we're seeing good expected goals against in all these games, and I feel like they when you watch the games, you saw how much they dominated these games, and they also kept a clean sheet against Burnley. So decent results here. I think it's likely that Everton scored 0 or 1. So that's sort of the conclusion I've arrived at. And again, we see the big game 0-0 here with Manchester United and Liverpool. So that could be the way this game goes with Everton. Like if they're not quite in that category, but I think with their style, I think it'll probably be a slow game. Everton plays slow a lot nowadays. So yeah, I don't trust Calvert-Lewin either. Like the thing is that he wasn't great last game. The goal he scored, I mean, it was a striker's goal, credit to him, but he didn't get a high quantity of chances. He really didn't. Just wasn't quite there. So yeah, that's why I've got Calvert-Lewin first sub. He didn't look great. United have been good defensively with so many options. Unfortunately, he ends up on the bench, even though I brought him in recently. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I think Stones is ownage. I think Stones is independently a better option than Gundogan. That's why I played him. I shouldn't say that I'm playing them as I am simply to secure a return from that game, but I do like how it plays out. That it's like that. At the end of the day, if I think Calvert-Lewin or Gundogan's the better option than Stones, I would play them. Stones is the one in my lineup I could take out. I will say that for sure. I don't disagree that it's a question mark. Really, I have no clue between Calvert-Lewin or Gundogan. That's a toss-up I'm not ready to decide on which one should be first sub. But Man City's defense has simply been too good, and they've kept so many clean sheets in a row. It almost feels like I'm pulling a Vardy situation here, where I just decided I was going to captain him until he blanks. Where they've been so good that until they show me a reason not to play him, I guess I'm just going to play him. Stones has been so good too. Like the one game they didn't keep a clean sheet in the past 5 million years is when they played West Brom and Stones didn't play. Stones has just been incredible. I mean, besides against Chelsea. I mean, Salah's stats are still pretty decent, right? So, Liverpool have a decent chance to score, I feel like. Who did Man City play last week? What was that game like? Burnley? Burnley had a couple chances, I feel like. I mean, Burnley's just a completely different kind of fixture for anybody, though. So, 4 minutes. Bench Dallas or Soufal. I would play Dallas if I had him. I would bench Soufal. Shaw or Cancelo? Ooh. Jeez, there's just so many people to play this week. Shaw or Cancelo? I think I would... I don't know. I would say flip a coin maybe, but I think I'm leaning towards Shaw just because of Liverpool. Shaw's just been good recently. Yeah, Gundogan being on penalties makes things very weird because how do we predict when they're going to get a penalty or multiple penalties in one game? Predicting a penalty per game, like if you look at who's fouled the most, and it just doesn't work that way. Like we don't know how the game's going to go. And it just takes one defensive mistake or one weird situation where somebody's able to get to the ball first, and then we have a penalty. Like it's so. If it was easy to predict penalties, that would be different. I just feel like, I feel like what's going to happen is I just try to envision the game, right? So Man City and Liverpool kick off. What's going to happen? I just feel like it's going to be cagey. I feel like Gundogan gets maximum one big chance. If he gets a penalty, obviously that's an issue. I don't know how we assess the likelihood of that. They haven't been getting any recently, so that's probably the best I got. But I feel like the game's going to be cagey. I'm going to be sitting there watching it and be like, why didn't I play Stones? This game's going nowhere. But we have seen them, I don't know, really have a lot of chances in the past. That's just what I envision. Like, me sitting there, like, this is a 0-0. This is definitely a 0-0. And then I should have played Stones. So that's how I see it at the moment. And when I look at my bench, I'm okay with it. You know, I got a midfielder that hasn't been getting many chances recently. I've watched the City games and I've been like, I should have benched Gundogan. Then he got that assist, luckily, last game. I feel like it was kind of lucky because he had a low quantity of just chances and not many shots. Like one long shot from outside the box that I remember. Other than that, I don't remember much from Gundogan. And, but again, there could be points on the bench here. I'm going to stick with Stones, though. I'll leave this team how it is. I could always change the captaincy, but I won't. I'm going to stick with my gut of Mr. Patrick Bamford. Finally have him. I'm just too excited. I just have to captain him, you know. Chilwell or Stones? Ooh, I think I would go Stones, I think, you know, just because Chilwell, I'd be too worried about the one-pointer. I actually sold Reece James, which is kind of probably dumb. But I think the only Chelsea defenders I would start would be people that you're somewhat confident starting. And Alonso is so high upside, I would start him. I'd be worried about the one-pointer there. Salah or Calvert-Lewin, Nuclear Adams. Oh, yeah, I haven't even considered that. All the people I could put Calvert-Lewin in for. I think. I'm playing Salah. Are there great reasons for that? I think the one deciding factor whenever I can't decide is like, penalties. But then I'm not playing Gundogan, so it's just. There's no good way. There's tough fixtures either way. They have him agree. Yeah. Bamford looks like me. You said that before. I feel like I agree. He does sort of look like me. I look a mixture of Patrick Bamford and Soyuncu. So that should be the deadline. I haven't seen the alert from Twitter yet, but it has hit 6 a.m. here or whatever time it may be there. 11 if you're in England. 4-4-2. I'm reasonably fine with the 4-4-2, and one reason for that is because it's been so defensive recently. We've seen a lot of clean sheets, and Patrick Bamford locked in captain over Antonio. With regards to the general Twitter community, that's kind of differential, but overall Bamford is much more owned than Antonio. So looking at Blues team, just because it came up, Blues' team, sorry. Almost didn't properly indicate there. That would have been a disaster. So Justin over Stones is a tough call. Again, these benching decisions, we're looking at points on the bench here, right? With Gundogan and all these players we have. But I can't say I would have done anything majorly different. I think, well, Souček, who knows what I would have done with him because I just can never decide. I'm glad I sold him. I don't care how many points he gets. Like, anyway. So Stones versus Souček or Stones versus Justin, like that would have been a huge decision here, I feel. But that's a good team, and I can't fault anything. Obviously, the captaincy for me, Antonio and Bamford is the way to go. If we look at Nuclear Atoms, how'd y'all game week go last week? By the way, got some green arrows. I got me a 10k red arrow, which was not ideal, but I was okay with it. I feel like my team did well. I just had some highly owned people that burned me, and my captaincy failed. If I get a captaincy return there, I get a green arrow. So Rudiger you have Rudiger, is the one that stands out to me. Like, wow, that's not everybody has him. So you got rid of Holding and Souček. Seems sound enough. Me and Grealish in. Not too sure I'm excited about Grealish anymore. I was earlier, but obviously he's a great option. The one thing I don't like about Grealish is that teams can just focus on him too much, and he holds on to the ball so long. It allows other people to swarm him, which hurts his goal threat. It almost boosts his creativity in a way because teams are able to simply, or they're not able to, but they do leave their. Sometimes they just leave other people in more space because of Grealish, and he lays the ball off or crosses or whatever. We saw West Ham come out with a game plan designed to stop Grealish last game effectively, so not loving that. But I don't think Arsenal will do that, which means I like him for this week because Arsenal will have too much pride. They'll probably lose because Arsenal is sort of the battle of two similar teams here, Aston Villa and Arsenal, right? Are they big clubs? We'll never know. So Diaz playing Cancelo third sub, really? Cancelo third sub, I didn't even notice that. Again, I can't say I really object to it. Obviously, we differ in Calvert-Lewin versus Salah. I like Saka this week too, though. I think it's a good matchup for him. Antonio captain again. Why Diaz over Cancelo? I guess that's my question. Why Diaz over Cancelo? That's my. It would be my only question. I think I would always go Cancelo over Diaz, so I'm just interested. But obviously, Diaz more likely to play 90 minutes, less likely to get to 1-pointer. So I assume that's why. Good luck Blues and Kobe and everybody else. You're so tired. All this just to make a transfer I could have done 2 days ago. Well, yeah, you can go ahead and make your transfers now for the next game week. Well, that's factually inaccurate. Never mind. The game's updating. But you get the point. Yeah, I did see that Bamford mentioned FPL, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I think Grealish, I like him this week. Overall, against the smaller teams, I sort of don't like him as much because of how much teams have been focusing on him. So, Bamford captain. I mean, Bamford and Antonio. Who knows? I went with my gut, though. This way, I really won't regret it if Bamford does worse than Antonio. Because I feel like that's what I was bound to do, to captain Bamford here. I really need a green arrow. I really do. 40k. That rank has been dipping. Oh, that's true. Yeah, Liverpool have been pretty bad from set pieces, I feel like. So yeah, fair enough. My thinking is that if the game is pretty cagey and slow, that allows Cancelo time to drift forward, and he may be like the overlapping option. But recently he's been sort of in the midfield, so it sort of allows him time to get forward. Same thing goes for Gundogan, but obviously Cancelo's a defender, and he gets clean sheet points. Bench Dallas over Soufal. I mean, can't blame you too much. I would always play Dallas, though. I just like Dallas. Without Zaha, yeah, I would definitely play Dallas. But Soufal, Fulham are just not good. And this is not breaking news, but that 2-2 against West Brom, once that happened, and the Brighton game, where they drew 0-0 and Fulham were terrible. I'm like, oh, okay, that little patch there where I'm like, okay, Fulham getting better defensively, they completely fell off after that. After those 2 games, I'm like, okay, no more trust in Areola, even though my other goalkeeper is Johnston, and I'm not sure you can get much worse than that. I hope Rashford can give me some returns this week. I mean, geez, Rashford's gotten 6 points is the most he's gotten for my team in 1 week. I benched him last week, which cost me 1 point, considering my decision was between him and Antonio, but not too worried about it. It was almost much worse if he just would have played that 5 extra seconds. He would have made it to the 60-minute mark. Would have been terrible. I guess not too bad. He would have gotten at least 2 more points. Okay, you got a player that I can check out his stats. I bet my prediction is this player is going to be worse than Oliver Burke. I mean, I guess that's pretty obvious, but let's look. I'm going to predict that he has played 7 minutes this season. He doesn't come up. Did you spell his name right? He does not come up in this database. So I think you're making up fictional characters, sir. Captain Cresswell. Well, Fulham, again, they've been terrible. I still can't. The reason I don't think I could do that personally, like, I'm not completely against captaining defenders necessarily, but Cresswell, he has a lot of assist threat, obviously. Doesn't quite have a goal threat necessarily. He's quality crosser of the ball. All right, now I got. Are these real players? Y'all are making up players. It's not a player. There's no Landvik. And there's no Huggins. They're just not in the Premier League. You're just lying. Let me refresh or something. Maybe they're recently added in. I probably had this page loaded up for a while. So Mark Sutherland sold Salah. I hope Salah scores. Like, this is the 1 week. I'm excited to see Salah's ownership. I'm playing Salah. A lot of people are benching him. I'm sure overall in terms of the whole game, he's going to be highly owned, all that. But I just really hope he scores because so many people are benching him. Like, my trust in Salah, like, I really hope it gets repaid. Yeah, Sanchez has been great. I mean, Sanchez is such an improvement on Ryan. Like, he really is. All right, let's type these players back in. Is there a person named Huggins? There's just no Huggins. I just don't believe you. Like, I have double City and Salah, but I just hope if Liverpool score, just please be Salah. There's just no Landvik and no Huggins. You guys just making this up. And I can't check Fantasy Premier League because it's down. Huggins leads. See, it's just not a real player. It's not a real person. But yeah, I was actually surprised to see how decent Salah's numbers have been with regards to expected goals per 90 minutes over the past little bit here. It's not bad. It's really not bad, which is surprising. He had, in a couple of games, he had big chances that I felt like he should have scored. Other than that, he has just looked so, like, lacking chances in general. But who knows? Who knows how the game goes? I'm not expecting much, though. So, with regards to the whole league since January 6th, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is highest for expected goals per 90 minutes. Some good fixtures there kind of boosted that up. But we see Martial on the front page. Oh, no, it's the second page. Never mind. But Aaron Connolly's first because he's played 16 minutes. But with regards to people that have actually played reasonable minutes, I'd say Sterling's first, and then Antonio, Lanzini, Cavani, Firmino. Firmino's arguably just as good an option as Salah at this point. Not really, but he's cheaper, so I would never get Firmino on my team, though. It just would never happen.
at this point. Like with the rate that he finishes at, it's just not good enough. But I mean, yeah, we're seeing similar numbers comparing like Salah to like Colin Wilson, Calvert-Lewin, Mane, Jesus, Werner, Fabio Silva. Fabio Silva's pretty decent numbers though, not nailed on anymore, unfortunately. Pereira's actually up there. I'm sort of surprised to see that. Mr. Jesse Lingard, in his 90 minutes, his numbers still aren't better than Bruno's over the past 539. So, yeah. These premiums, surely they've got to be like really good again, right? I mean, what's his name? Bruno was obviously pretty good last week. Ruben Neves, because he had the penalty. I'm like, how is he that far up there in terms of expected goals? But yeah, I didn't look too much at statistics this week. I was trying to get away from it a little bit. I feel like I've been too focused on it recently with regards to basing everything on it. And that sort of led to me captaining Bamford this week. Just sort of went with my gut. We'll see how it goes. So Aston Villa play Arsenal at 7:30. Lineups come out in about 18 minutes. I'm interested to see what exactly happens there. Arsenal's lineup could look good for the likes of Grealish or Watkins. But maybe I don't know what sort of lineup would look bad, actually. The thing about Liverpool and Salah is that I still feel like he only needs half a chance to score. And I don't get that feeling with a lot of other players. Out of nowhere, Salah could just, the one chance he gets, he scores it. And the same thing goes for Calvert-Lewin and Gundogan, I suppose, recently. But obviously, Salah's a little more likely to get a better chance than Gundogan, I feel like. Let me go back to that. Isn't Hagazi like... I know Hagazi, that's with a Y, right? Hagazi. See, I know Ahmed Hagazi. You're spelling it with a Y, though. Yeah, so he's on loan from West Brom. Let's go back to the database. Let's see about these fictional players that you guys are mentioning that don't exist in the real world. So we got Neeskens. Neeskens shows up. Neeskens has amazing statistics. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Eric Shun. That's not a real name. That's not a real. Eric Shun is from he's from South Park. That's not a real person. These are terrible. This is not. I mean, sure, they're talented, of course, but it's not top level talent here we're talking about. I think, I haven't actually looked at Alonso's numbers. I just think he's a great option because he's Alonso. The thing I'm most impressed with about Alonso, let me pull up Chelsea actually, recently since Tuchel took over. I don't know how you say that, by the way. But let's look at Chelsea since the thing I like about Alonso, his positioning is enough. His positioning is such that he'll get tap-ins. Like, he's been drifting so far into the box. I really like the look of Alonso. If he had a double game week, which they don't, do they? I would be all over them. The fixtures are pretty decent, too. But if they were a little better, man, it's just too good. Alonso is just an FPL legend, but he's a good finisher. I mean, he showed that with his goal. He's just basically an attacker, and he's playing effectively left wing at times. He's going to be able to put in crosses, but he's not a winger that stays wide. And Chelsea do this a lot, actually. I say this about Pulisic. I say this about Pulisic. I tried to make a list there, but I had one item, so I just said the same thing twice. But I like when people get into the box to try to finish off crosses. I don't like a winger. Like, a lot of times, it just depends on the tactics of the team, but a lot of times you'll see Rashford's guilty sometimes. He's like half and half, though. Players that are worse a lot of times are Mahrez. Like, they just stay wide, and if Sterling on the other wing, for example, has a chance to put in a cross, or Zinchenko, they'll just sort of stay out wide and they won't rush into the box to get on the end of the cross. I feel like that's an important. It just adds so much more with regards to scoring threat in FPL. And my page will not load this Chelsea team. It doesn't want me to look at Alonso's statistics. Oh well. We will refresh and try again. Why would I be starting in the Wolves back line? I don't understand. I wouldn't play in the back line anyway. I would not do that. I would play a different position. So Chelsea, will it load? That's the question. It's not that hard. Just I click apply and see that's it literally 0 time. Okay, so let's go recently because I'm not too interested in previous numbers. I'll go since when was their Chelsea? So Chelsea played let's just look at the last 3, I suppose. We'll go like January 29th. Since January 29th. Last 2. Expected goals per 90 minutes. Where's Alonso at? 0.24. That's still good. Okay, his numbers are pretty good as well. But I'm more interested in his positioning. I feel like he's got a lot of more big chances coming his way. But that's pretty good so far. His Mount's got great numbers, actually. I'm interested in Pulisic. If he can get more minutes, that would be nice. Jorginho, I mean, on penalties, but there's just other better options at the moment. Werner, I can't say I'm interested in him yet. He's got to finish. He's got to show me he can score. I mean, geez. He just misses everything. I like Hudson-Odoi. If Hudson-Odoi can start at right wing consistently, not right wing back, but right wing, I think he's a great option because he's pretty cheap. If he's nailed on is the biggest question, and I don't feel like that will ever be the case. And I feel like his goal threat isn't necessarily the best. I think Alonso's got more goal threat than Hudson-Odoi in general. So Alonso is still the number 1 Chelsea target for me. Who do Chelsea? I know they don't have the double game week, so it's just probably not going to be a transfer in for me. I think, if anything, I could just double up on Burnley. It's pretty likely, I would suppose. So Chelsea plays Sheffield United, which is great this week if you have him. I sold James, though, so he'll probably do pretty well. Looking at Chelsea. Am I blind, or is there no Chelsea? There's no Chelsea. Here they are. So Newcastle, I mean, that's good. You can't really go wrong here. Man, if there weren't the doubles, I would be all over Alonso. Like, I would take on the rotation risk, and that's pretty rare. If Son scores 2+, I'm done. You know, it's weird because I feel like we're used to Son punishing us, right? With the injury, he came back and scored. With tough matchups early on, he would just always do well. But I feel like it's different. I feel like you may be in luck. I don't think 2+ is going to happen. But it's West Brom. How bad are West Brom going to be? That's the question. Against Arsenal, they were terrible. If they do the same against, it's going to be bad. Yeah, Alonso left wing back. I think he should nail on his place there. Alonso should nail on his place. The only issue is that just rotation, congested fixtures. Chilwell could play left wing back as well. We just don't know. We just don't know about rotation. I would assume Alonso, if he doesn't play, he's likely to not come on at all. There's always, that decent probability when you're talking about defenders. But no, I didn't captain Antonio. I went with Bamford. Yeah, I love them both for this week. I really do. I think they're great. But Bamford was sort of my gut call, as I mentioned in the video, and I just ended up going with him. I don't think the real reason is because Crystal Palace have conceded more goals than Fulham, even though Fulham give up more big chances. I like that. It's just a toss up. I think if you just simply look at the numbers, I think Antonio is the better pick. It reads that way, so it's a close one. But I really love them both. So let's see what Nathan Ferguson. Oh, hey Donna, how's it going? This is Donna. I don't know if you can see her. Donna is the one that don't walk over the computer. But back in that was last season. I had a benching decision, and I chose to pick. I let Donna decide based on which toy she chose, and it was a decision between playing Madison or Trent Alexander-Arnold. And if you remember in that game, Trent got 24 points and Madison got 1 point. And luckily, Donna here, she chose Trent. So that saved me 23 points. Later on, I had her pick between Jimenez and Doherty, and she picked Doherty, who got 6, and Jimenez got 9. So she kind of lost me 3 points there, but overall, she's net gain of 20 points with Donna's decisions here. So yeah, that's why she's come to blame me. She's like, why? She's criticizing me for captaining Bamford over Antonio. She says I should have captained Antonio, which is a bit ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, Antonio, if he goes bananas, that's fine with me. I have him. I'm gonna be happy enough with it. I know FPL Twitter is gonna outscore me. I love them both though, man. It's a tough decision. Yep, I didn't even vice captain Bruno. Put it on my strikers. They're just too good. They're central to their teams. They're on penalties. I like them. I like watching Antonio too. I think he's good. No, Donna is not Paul Lockfist. Donna's she's kind of dumb. Who do you think I should have captained? She doesn't know. Andrin. Okay, I've heard of Andrin. Can I predict what team Andrin plays for? I want to say it's Chelsea, but then again, I really don't know. I feel like I may have seen him in career mode or something, so that's why I say Chelsea, because I end up going to Chelsea all the time whenever I used to play career mode. He doesn't pull up. I got to pull him up on here. Again, he's a fake player. If Understat don't recognize him, it's just not good enough. Tino Andrin. He does play for Chelsea. See? Told you I used to play career mode for Chelsea. Remember seeing his name on the bench. Probably beside a silhouette of a player in FIFA. He was born in 2001. See? I know what I'm talking about. Andrin, I doubt he starts for you guys. Not that I'm an expert on this, but who knows? This is why I like Kiefer more than Donna. Donna's not really my cat, by the way. Donna's my girlfriend's cat. Andrin plays Cam? So Jason asked me this. I wasn't able to answer because I was deadline streaming. Didn't see it, but he asked, did Mitchell or Lowton? Should I start Soufal over Justin? My first instinct says yes because of the matchup, right? But Justin, I mean, you don't really get much better than James Justin as an FPL option at this point. Like, he's just too good. Just too good. I think this is a good team, though. I would have played Lowton, I think. I would have played Lowton over Diaz or Stones. I don't know. I like the Brighton matchup. Brighton just can't finish. I just don't really trust them. All right, Donna, you've had your camera time. You're literally just standing in front of the microphone at this point. Donna, look. Okay. There you go. Just sit there. Kiefer's, he's chilling somewhere else. He's probably just sleeping on the couch or something. Kiefer's cooler. Wilson against Southampton. Wilson's so tough to predict. I like it in general. Southampton have been so poor defensively. Obviously, if you saw last game, you're aware of that. But I like him. I think if I had him, I would try to play him simply because you just sort of have to play him in all your bad matchups. Eventually, he's going to get a 13-pointer out of nowhere, probably in a tough matchup because it's Colin Wilson. But I like him. Southampton should be a pretty good matchup for him. I think he'll have the chance to get in behind. I think they'll probably be pretty aggressive against Newcastle, and that could lend itself well. But if Southampton are able to get firm control in the game, obviously that's what they'll try to do against a team like Newcastle. Maybe they actually keep a clean sheet, but I see Newcastle being able to break them down. I like it for Wilson. I would never bring him in because he's more of a if you have him keep him kind of player at the moment. But yeah, you captain Rashford. Wow, I mean, so Everton again. I see that game probably being like 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, something like that at United. So I don't think it's like the highest upside compared to like Antonio or Bamford, but Rashford. So with regards, like I benched him last week, right? Rashford, if he would just stay central, like if they played him, I don't know, if he just stayed more central, like to get on the end of crosses as he scored, for example, he would be so much of a better option. But so many times he stays wide, and I'm just like, this guy has no chance of getting a return. But then it just takes one moment for him, I know. But you notice, like, he scored off a cross. He just finished at one touch. I'm not surprised that he didn't score from, like, dribbling and then shooting, because he's been taking so many touches, and then he takes forever to shoot the ball, and he always gets his shot blocked. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that he didn't score that way. And the assist was, I was going to say the assist was lucky. I feel like the returns overall, maybe he only gets one or none if there isn't the red card. So I felt a little bit unlucky there that I benched him. But regardless, all my attackers I was going to bench instead did well, so it didn't really hurt me. But yeah, if he would get in the box, get on the end of them crosses, I feel like that would be a major source of goal threat for him. If he could just do that a little more often. But yeah, his tendency to stay wide, like I mentioned earlier, like Alonso is always in the box. Like you don't really get the same effect with Rashford a lot of times. I think he's a pretty good player. He needs to work on his finishing a little bit, though. Obviously, I'm sitting here judging Rashford. He's a great dribbler. I think he's a good creator, actually. But if he could just finish a little more consistently, he would be a great FPL option. Geo Wizard on YouTube. He made a... Oh, I got recommended his video last night or this morning, actually. That's actually... Oh, I didn't know it was in real life. I just thought it was... I didn't know that was in real life. That's really cool. Well, yeah, I just thought he was like speed running the game or something, like the actual game. Okay, Donna. Okay, you're just gonna lay down, or you're gonna okay, nudge the glass like it's not gonna fall over. That's a good idea. You Captain Rashford today is the most important day in club history. Is it really though? Is it really? Let's look at the EPL standings. The lineups come out really soon. Actually, let's go ahead and go to the Villa page. Aston Villa. Oh, I just typed in Villa. It's not what they call them. Aston Villa. Okay, let's see if I can type. Aston Villa. No, Aston Villa. Yeah, I mean, if Donna's tail smacks me in the face, it literally does 0 damage. Kiefer, on the other hand, is different. Yeah, Kiefer's a big boy, that's for sure. So, Man United. You see what this is, Harveen? Sorry to tell you, buddy. Man City are going to win the title. So, just give up. Just give up. 300 HP. Yeah, no. If Donna's tail is so tiny, like if this hits you in the face, like you actually gain HP. Like it's not even close. I mean, Kobe, was captaining Salah ever really in the discussion? I don't feel like it was. I feel like benching him was in the discussion. I guess you're just referring to the fact how we always captain him. Now that we don't, he's gonna do well. So Aston Villa. Well, no surprises. Grealish and Watkins is all I'm interested in. Martinez starts. Nakamba and Traore starting is the most significant in terms of doubt, but they played the same lineup so much. Like they do need a little bit of rotation to freshen it up. I feel like Douglas Luiz on the bench, so I'm quite okay with that as a Grealish owner. So we got Martinez, Cash, Konza, Mings, Target, McGinn, Nakamba, Traore, Barkley, Grealish, Watkins. So fair enough, as you would expect. Let's go to let's see if Fantasy Premier League will tweet out the other lineup. So we have Ryan. We have Ryan starting. That caught me off guard for a second. I'm like, what? But I forgot he signed. Ryan Bellerin holding Gabriel, Cedric, who's been playing really well, Xhaka, Partey, Saka, Smith Rowe, Pepe, Lacazette. I quite like the Saka Smith Rowe combination. I think that's good for them. Aubameyang on the bench. It's most notable. Martinelli on the bench. Pretty overrated. Sorry, Arsenal fans. He's not bad. Odegaard on the bench. Willian on the bench, where he belongs. And we got another Arsenal lineup here that will probably lose. But yeah, I mean, honestly, with regards to Arsenal, like I make jokes about them all the time. Holding and Cedric have impressed me recently. Partey's been pretty good. Saka and Smith Rowe definitely. And Pepe's finally improved. So like they're showing some improvement here. Obviously they had that run earlier when they had the great fixtures where I had their players. But yeah, I've been impressed by Holding. You know, he's been like a little bit worse version of John Stones almost. Yeah. Matt Ryan starts for Arsenal against Aston Villa. This is actually going to be a good game to watch, I feel like this is one of the games this week that could be open. But whenever I have Grealish, they just slow the game down, and Grealish gets one return, and it's boring. He doesn't do the most. So yeah. Why would you hit the mic? You didn't agree with that? You think Grealish is a great option? Okay. I agree, but I'm just saying they slowed the game down a lot. She knocked over a cup. Luckily, I didn't have water in that. Kepa's brother, Willian, belongs in a dumpster. The thing about Willian bothers me. He doesn't bother me, but I feel like he could be so much better. He always does this. So like, let's say this is him. We have Willian. Oh, there's a defender here. Okay, I'm Willian. I receive the ball. I'm gonna stop. Wait 3 seconds. Take a couple small touches, and then I'm gonna go right, and then I'm gonna cross. Like he always just holds. He stands still with the ball and then makes a move. Like he doesn't just, I don't know, play a one-touch pass, keep the ball moving, pass the ball to him. You're like, all right, let's take a 3-second break while you stand still every time. Yeah, I just gained some health points, that's for sure. So yeah, I think with regards to Grealish, you know, they have Xhaka and Partey. I like the fact that they have Xhaka. I feel like that's, you know, somebody that Grealish can blow by pretty easily, but Partey is going to be tough. Hopefully Xhaka. Is Xhaka on Grealish's side? I don't remember. Which side Xhaka plays on. Oh my gosh, look at this guy's bench. This guy benched Diaz, Cancelo, and Gundogan. But, you know, it sort of makes sense with his team. I may have actually benched Maddison here, though, and played Cancelo. But other than that, can't really blame the guy. But, geez, Diaz, Cancelo, and Gundogan on the bench. They're just so worrying. Like, Man City are a little bit too good for all that, I suppose. But it's tough. You know, how do you know who to bench and who to play? Has the game updated? I'm going to say probably not, because they don't ever update the game as quickly. Yep, not updated yet. So, yeah, those are the lineups. You know, if I had to predict these scores for Aston Villa, let me think about Aston Villa Arsenal. Seeing that, I'm actually going to say, you know, given the fact that Aston Villa, I feel like they've defended a little bit worse recently, I'm actually going to go with a pretty simple 2-1 Arsenal here. I think it's not too slow. I think there will be goals, but I say 2-1 Arsenal. I don't think it's too bad. Willian is an undercover agent. You know, I just don't. Williams is a fine player to have. Don't get me wrong. Like he can serve a role in the team, but they're just paying him so much money. Like I don't quite get it. I know they wanted somebody that had like Premier League experience, and they know he's not gonna be a complete fail, but it didn't. It just didn't work. Yeah, I feel like. I mean, he had some seasons there where he was good at Chelsea. Like, um, I don't know. He's just a weird player. He's not bad. I feel like at Chelsea, he was probably hated on a little too much, but he's been. I don't know. He had some good moments. But when he plays like he's Jack Grealish, but he doesn't have the quality of Jack Grealish. He doesn't dribble past people like where he holds up the ball and all that. Like Grealish is the only one that can get away with it at some points, and even then it's a mistake in a lot of cases. With regards to holding onto the ball so long, Grealish is just amazing though, and Willian just isn't that. But I don't know. I feel like Willian would be a little better if he doesn't, like, he's a decent dribbler, right, when you look at his ball control independent of what he does with it. But considering his dribbling abilities, he doesn't really, and how much he likes to hold on to the ball, he doesn't really do things like Jack Grealish. Yeah, he just, I don't know. I've always had that criticism of him that he just stands still with the ball in too many cases. You just know he gets the ball, he's going to wait a second, and then eventually he's going to explode away with his little explosion. It's not like he's blowing past people, really. And his open play finishing is kind of not great. He's a good free kick taker, though. Okay, Kobe, this doesn't really make sense. Willian was class post-lockdown. He played like prime Messi, but now he plays like Berg. So he plays better now? I don't really get it. Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, so he plays the same prime Messi, Berg? I don't really get the difference there. So the reason I went cheap on Burnley is simply because I don't really feel like the difference between Loughton and me is that great. I know it's only 0.5, and I definitely have the money that I could just throw it around. But Loughton has a little bit of creativity, has a little bit of assist threat, and Me's obviously fine. He's got more goal threat. I understand why people went with him instead, but I just felt like if I ever want that money, I feel like that 0.5 could be better spent elsewhere, but maybe I'm just a money-grabbing dumb decision. But I don't know. I mean, Loughton, he doesn't really have any goal threat. But who knows? I may need that money at some point. So I have 2.6 in the bank. I just didn't. Yeah, I basically just gambled and said, you know what? Me won't get any attacking returns anyway. So let me just go with the cheaper option. Me's 4.9. Loughton is 4.4. That's 0.5 difference. Reasonably significant, I suppose. But I also don't have a wild card left or anything like that. So longer term, I would prefer the cheaper option. So I just sort of play it safe, I feel like. So Arsenal Aston Villa, I'm going to say Arsenal win 2-1. Burnley Brighton, I say 1-0 Burnley, maybe 2-0. Brighton can't finish, but who knows? Maybe we get the good Brighton that happens sometimes. Newcastle and Southampton. So I think both teams should score, right? I say Newcastle win. I mean, it depends on how well Ings finishes his chances. I think he'll get them. I'm going to say Newcastle win 2-1, though. Southampton just been too poor recently. Fulham, West Ham. So this could be one of those 3-0, but it could also just be Fulham sort of cage it up here. West Ham. Okay, that's right. Last time West Ham played Fulham, you guys remember what happened, right? Well, first of all, I had Masuaku and Soufal, and West Ham gave up a penalty in like the 3 minutes after stoppage time was supposed to be done, and then Lookman tried to put in the penalty. Fabianski saved it. That was the most nervous I've been all season. I had double West Ham defense. They were in bonus, all that stuff. And I had just brought them in on wild card, and they gave up a dumb penalty so late in the game. I was so upset because it was going to be such a rank boost for me because it was so differential to have double West Ham. And then that penalty happened, and then all of a sudden I was just so excited. So, yeah, that was what happened last time West Ham played Fulham. Fulham actually did pretty well against them, though I think it was a 1-0 win. Maybe it was a 0-0. I don't remember, but with Antonio, we'll see how much they improve. But I feel like that having that experience in the back of my mind, knowing West Ham sort of failed in that game, may be one of the reasons why my gut went with Bamford over Antonio this week. And I think I just figured out why. These are sort of the things that we hold on to in our brains. These are potentially good reasons, right? And that's why I think you should listen to your gut a lot of times. But we'll see what happens. And also, I remember because I watched last night. I watched the previous fixture of Leeds versus Crystal Palace, and I watched that game too. And I remember that Leeds were unlucky. Bamford, and I refreshed myself on what happened. Bamford had a goal called offside, and he was literally barely offside, and then he scored again. Leeds were very unlucky in that game. That's one of the most unlucky games of the season. And the Van Aanholt assisted an own goal where he was on the side of the box, like the side of the 18-yard box. He's outside of the box on the side. Van Aanholt puts a cross in. I think it's Dallas or Ayling. They deflect it right away outside the box, and Meslier had already taken one step to the side to anticipate the cross. It hits the defender, goes near post, beats him. That's one of their goals. Eze scored a free kick. Usually wouldn't happen, right? This is just a good finish. Leeds can't really do anything about that. And the other goal was a good header that I felt like it hit the crossbar and went in. That I felt like, again, wasn't really something they would have to happen a lot. So I felt like a lot of their goals were goals that simply wouldn't happen. The fourth goal, I had Zaha at the time, and I was happy he got an assist. But I just felt like that game got away from them after they conceded some goals that Crystal Palace were just on fire that day. And I don't think that's going to happen again. So I feel like that's sort of why I went Bamford. Not that previous fixtures mean everything, but Leeds do have a distinct way of playing, I suppose. And I felt like Bamford did well previously. So hopefully he'll do well again. And they don't have Zaha, so who knows. Maybe one day I'll get lucky and the person on captain, the team they're playing, gets an early red card. That's always the best feeling. Yeah, I mean, Lookman's been good, though. Ever since that penalty miss, I always say that's hard to come back from, but he did. Anyway, Fulham West Ham. So, because of that, I'm going to say 2-0 West Ham. It could be worse. I know. Lingard and Antonio, I like them. I think West Ham scored multiple goals. I'm going to say 2-0 West Ham. Man United, Everton, I'm going to have to say... honestly, I'm going to say... I'll say 2-0 United. I think they get a late goal again. I think, the same thing happened in the previous fixture. I think Everton are the kind of team where they're losing 1-0 and they really try to win it. They don't wait till the last second. They try to attack and win it. And I think United to get another late goal and make it 2-0. Bruno did pretty well against Everton last time. That's when I brought Bruno in, and he did very well. 2 goals and an assist, I believe. Yeah. Tottenham versus West Brom. What's going to happen in this game? I'll say probably... I'm actually going to say 1-1. Nice Pereira goal here. Probably like a Bergwijn assist and own goal. Something weird for Tottenham. Wolves, Leicester. I think Leicester win. I think it's going to be 2-0. I don't really know how much they'll win by, actually, but 2-0 seems decent enough. Liverpool versus Manchester City. Will Liverpool score is probably the biggest question. I'm going to predict... I'm actually going to predict... I'm going to say... I'm going to have to go 2-0 Man City. I'm just going to I'm just going to play it safe here with my prediction and say, you know what? They're going to keep doing what they're doing. I feel like that's at least a decent possibility. And I don't want to predict too many goals. I don't feel like that will happen. So 1 or 2-0 Man City. Sheffield United versus Chelsea, the final game. Chelsea, obviously, we don't really know what's going to go on with them. I'm going to say another 1-0 win for Chelsea, though. Pretty low scoring, right? 174-0 West Brom. I disagree. I definitely disagree. I'd say that's more likely to be the Sheffield United game. They have Burke, so he's probably possible. He could do something like that for sure. Anybody else? Probably not. Maybe Bamford, So yeah, those are my predictions for the game week. Let's see. You guys want to see something cool before I sign off? Should I do it? Yeah, I'll do it, I think. What is it? Oh. I was trying to pull up one of my goals I scored. Oh, is this it? I think this is it. No, that's one. It's from back in the day. That's it. I think it's it. How do I pull up the video though? Here we go. Back from 2017. This is why I wouldn't play center back for Wolves. Just reminded me. Do a round of Pac-Man on Google Games. Nope. I don't feel like that's gonna happen. Hold on, let me mute this. So I'm coming in on the left here. You can see the arrow above my head. Ignore this first bad touch, right? Bad touch. But then Burbaspin, nutmeg, far corner, and I want to point out here. Okay, I didn't realize this was a whole highlight tape. I want to point out here, right? So I do the Burbaspin. If you don't know what that is, this is a bad angle, right? I just promise. I just know I nutmegged him, right? You can't see. Number 15's in the way. Terrible camera angle. I get it, right? But the reason I love this clip so much, it was so funny at the time. This guy was not hurt. I guarantee you this guy was not hurt. You see he does the little limp right here? The guy I just beat does the little limp after I pass him. Just watch it. Just watch it. Watch it. He fakes the limp. He does the classic. And then he bends over, acts like he's hurt. Let's go back. We got to watch this again. This was hilarious. This was the first goal of the game, by the way. So number whatever his name is, he's a little kid. This wasn't a great touch. This team was bad, by the way. So it was easy. This isn't like a major achievement here. But this was so funny. He does the old, I just got nutmeg. Let me fake an injury. Look at him. Look at him. He's faking an injury. He's over there, hunched over right there. So, yeah, he got absolutely destroyed. The old fake injury because I got nutmegged. The oldest trick in the book. The oldest trick in the book. It was Burke-esque. I don't know about all that. It's a little bit too much. FPL takes forever to update, dude. It's terrible. I was waiting for it to update, but it's just not going to happen, I don't think. Oh, it's updated. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect timing. So let me go ahead and put my double game week players in. Let me see how my team is looking today. We got Gundogan playing. So Gundogan's, who do I put Gundogan in for? Maybe Soufal, right? My defense is looking all doubled up. Soufal on the bench. I mean, I got some good fixtures on the bench here. I'm gonna have to bench Bamford. This is exciting though. Maybe I bench Grealish actually. Play Target or Soufal, but perhaps. Salah versus Leicester. Again, we're going to be talking about benching Salah unless he scores, right? It's going to be return based. Good to see you, Harveen. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I'll do that, but thank you, Harveen. Hopefully you guys have a good game week. This should be my team. A little bust team. I think this is pretty good enough for a Green Arrow. I got some double game weeks here. I have to decide what other transfer I do. I'm not too excited to bench any of these players, so maybe I don't really make any. Captaining Calvert-Lewin potentially, maybe Stones. Man City captain, that's gonna be a big decision. Anyway, West Brom, Manchester United, a bunch of captaincy options. Let's go to Kobe. Yeah, let's go to the Beat Block League now that it's updated. Before we sign off here, let's see what's going on. I've dropped to 7th. I was in 3rd. It's been going pretty poorly. Let's see. Adam's right behind me. Adam FPL. Let's go to Kobe's team. Let's go to Harveen's team too. Since he left, we can pull up the fact that he's on the second page. I know he gets offended. I assume this is you. It says FPL Devil now. So yeah, I'll probably do the same Blues, honestly. But yeah, I'll see you. So we're looking at this team. Antonio, of course, good option. I was going to say I would have played Cancelo. The only thing I may have done is Cancelo instead of Madison. That may be the only way I would have went with that. But other than that, I think I would have done the same things. You got Pope. You got a bunch of good matchups here. Rudiger, cheap option. Obviously, he's pretty good. Jesus is the most interesting player of the bunch. Who knows how he does for you? A -12. So looking at Jesus in, Martial in, Shaw in, and Pope in. I'd say those are pretty risky transfers with Martial and Jesus. I'm not completely against them. Martial has great numbers. There's just not many players. Oh, you transferred out Martial. Am I tripping? Yeah, I'm messing up. But regardless. Let me go back for a second. Oh yeah, so you got out Martial. Okay. Okay, I see what happened. So Jesus, Shaw, and Pope. I don't mind. Jesus in is hopefully it goes well for you. Let's look at Mr. Harveen team. Harveen, since you're still here, let's take a look at your team, buddy. Where's he at? Where's he at? I can't see. I'm blind. Oh, there he is. Okay. I'm blind. Any transfers? 3 transfers, -8. Staying on the second page. Mr. Harveen. We got Rafinha in, Ederson in, and Lowton in. So we're spending big on goalkeeper. Shit. I skipped. We're spending big on goalkeeper. Not an issue considering we have so much money here. I feel like this team looks good for the. That's a future transfer move, right? You get the double. So you're going to have double games with Cancelo, Ederson, and Stones. It's going to be nice. Hopefully, obviously for both of us, Cancelo and Stones don't get rotated. Rashford captain. I like this team. You have Dallas, which I wish I had for this week. Rafinha is an interesting one. Lowton. Would I have played Lowton? No. I think I probably would have done something similar. I think I would have just done Cancelo instead of Stones, and that would be it, but probably not a point difference there. But yeah, I mean, surely this is Green Arrow material, right? Besides Rashford captaincy, maybe. Who knows how that goes. I would assume this is still Green Arrow potential. I would expect a lot of the FPL players, that are taking content and stuff to really boost up this game week, because I feel like the template team, I suppose, has some pretty good fixtures. So hopefully you'll get some green arrows. But thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And yeah. Yeah, I just couldn't find you. But yeah, I will see you guys next time.